Hi, I'm Elinor, and here's a few snippets of what I've been up to this year. So, as you can see from these pictures, the main subject of my project is waste. At the beginning of the year, I was thinking a lot about my own consumption habits, like from food to shampoo or even who I was banking with. And kind of having this mantra of, is this an ethical or sustainable choice? Really thinking about what my impact was. So on this train of thinking about the unsustainable interactions or actions, a lot of ethics and sustainability is influenced by wastage. Is this product or thing made with responsible consideration of materials or of the waste system it will at some point enter? Obviously, what we do with our waste is a key feature of our relationship to our environment. Like badly managed waste at various stages of manufacture, consumption, discard has damaging and long-lasting effects on both the environment and people who are local to these environments. Figuratively, I understood waste as this broad thing. It existed as a concept, even in the way we use words related to waste, such as unwanted or remains. It created this sort of web of other sites that aren't literally linked to waste. Yeah, so I had this way of thinking about waste that wasn't as literal as seeing actual waste. So litter or stuff in bins. This is a little stop motion video. It was a way of representing the distancing and obscuring of waste. It was just a little bit of fun. I did it when I was stuck in a rut about what to do next. Here's Camberwell in southeast London, and I'm on my bike cycling in a small square area that I'd limited myself to. I'd given myself a shopping list to collect waste or litter that relates to each of these categories that you see on the left. I'd made a long list and then I'd randomly selected someone from this list. Before this, I'd done a different style of collecting waste. It had been on my bike, but the restriction I'd had was my route, and I could pick up anything I found on these routes. Whereas this method is obviously different, as I had a limited area and I was limited to the list. Here I was stuck in another rut. I was kind of tired of all the cycling I'd been doing to collect waste, and during these cycles the weather was usually really bad. So I was kind of trying to figure out something else that I could do. And these drawings that I did, which are the outlines of objects of waste, led me to look at waste through a more of an archaeological lens. As you can see, like when they're layered, they create kind of these sort of landscapes, and the drawings themselves being so flat, it just presents them in a different way. And so now you see me wearing gloves and putting things into like evidence bags. It was all about like framing waste differently and sort of asking, does this affect the way I understand this object? And in the end, it sort of turned waste into an artefact, something that I could then catalogue and document, but also question. Beginning to see it through this lens gave me a different set of tools. I created all these little cubes which had different words in them to question the waste, but it all came from looking at geological tools to record like meteorites. Here I've used QGIS to play around with maps. Again, I wanted to illustrate this distancing from cities, so I sort of plotted out all the landfill sites. I think here it actually only shows England and Scotland, but you can sort of see how they're often around cities, but not in them. Like you can see London, there's a few near the border, but most like kind of circle it. So I made a sound walk, and it takes place in Brixton. This area's got like an environmental service site where all the general waste and recycling trucks kind of sit. But it's also got a hub of activity nearby, like Brixton Market and all the arcades. They're full of restaurants, shops, and it's a site where the link between consumption and disposal could be drawn quite well. I think we kind of have quite a negative relationship with waste. Like it's often brought into this simplified narrative of being bad. And I think a big aim for this project that I had was to try and show a more of a complexity to it, and that its meanings can vary so much to different people in different situations and in different societies. Living in London, in the UK even, we have a very privileged relationship to waste, and it's just kind of something I wanted to illustrate.